Welcome to the Flaming Puck podcast with me, your host, Ian the Dynamo Kelly, joined as always by my beautiful gentleman, Chris the Beef Back, and of course, Dylan the Hedgehog Simpson. We do new nicknames every week. We try to. We just try to have fun with it. Guys, this is going to be a fun show today because in fairness, for most of this off season, we've got through the off season with some sort of content. But today, we've actually got some great content, and also not as much speculation as we've had to deal with on previous shows. We've actually got kind of some ironclad stuff, obviously going on, but then we've got some pretty cool breaking news kind of things going on here as well when it involves a certain center somewhere up in Buffalo. So I'm looking forward to having this conversation today, guys. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be back. It's been a few
weeks. A lot has happened in this last week. We had the expansion draft, we had the actual draft, we had free agency open up. It's been exciting times for all hockey fans, to be honest.
Yeah, it has been, and there's been so much happening. Like last year, there was a lack of things happening around this time because GMs were just getting used to the flat cap system and having to deal with all that, and now they're I think there's more buyouts and more free agent signings because teams are getting more used to being able to juggle all that stuff. So,
yeah, and that's what's kind of cool. Does anybody? Let's just start like real quick. We won't spend too long on this. We'll literally spend like a couple of minutes. I've been listening to some mixed reactions with the Kraken expansion draft, and a lot of people are kind of not too happy with what the Kraken are doing at the moment, thinking that maybe they haven't gone as big as they possibly could have. Would you agree with that?
It's been it was an interesting selection that they made. Like the exact opposite direction I find it than what Vegas did.
Yeah, I think that's what people are thinking.
Vegas, which is weird considering Vegas, did the draft and then came right into playoffs and have looked like a decent team ever since. Yeah. They're doing the exact opposite, and I don't know. They're getting better as time progresses now with some moves, but I don't see them being very competitive. I mean,
me neither.
They're in a fairly weak division, so they'll probably make the playoffs, but there's no way they're a contender for a while.
Well, absolutely.
Dylan, I was going to ask you, Dylan, actually more so you, Dylan, because you're the man for trades and stuff like that. So when you look at like their roster so far, I mean, all they've really got to kind of use as pieces is kind of, I suppose, picks, maybe.
They've done a lot of signings. They've traded a couple guys, picks and stuff like that. I found it very interesting that
we've lost Dylan.
Like a day or something like that before the expansion draft that Carey Price was
we have lost Dylan, so we will come back. Chris, what about?
Yo.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Dylan was kind of agreeing with you right there, as he fixed
and
internet.
Their selection was super weird. I haven't really followed all the trades that they've been involved in.
Me neither.
Because I'm still finding it hard to give a shit about Seattle.
Me too.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if we were living in Vancouver, I guess that would be easy to, because I'm sure a lot of people that live in Vancouver have jumped ship from that train wreck and become Kraken fans.
Are you trying to assume that people in Vancouver are fickle?
I'm not even assuming they are. And yeah, I mean, any team that'll try and burn their city to the ground after a playoff loss can fuck right off. Their fan base, they're toxic, but that's fine. It is what it is. I mean, it's hard to call them a Canadian team, even though on the other side of the country, you got the same thing going on in Montreal. So
it's kind of crazy, isn't it? Because I mean, like I looked at it as well, and I was thinking, right, from this expansion draft, we're going to see really, because Chris, you told me, I don't know whether it was off air or on air, but you had said to me that if Seattle want to be really smart with this, there's lots of guys and pieces that they could put in there that they could then use in potential trade moves if they really wanted to go. Not too dissimilar, as you said, to the Vegas Golden Knights. And
it was that's why I found it to be weird. They didn't take those big fish. They didn't take the the Carey Price or the or the big guys with the big contracts that they could potentially get a really good haul for.
Well, Dylan's back. What about Dylan? Obviously, I think we should give you this one with Gio. I mean, obviously, we weren't sure up until the 9th
hold
hour.
on. Where's my? I forgot my champagne. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. You go get your champagne.
And I think a lot of people online have been kind of misunderstanding what myself, and I think even Chris have been saying, and probably you too, Ian, not to put words in both of your guys' mouths about it, but a lot of people seem to think we just fucking hate Gio. And I don't think any of us really like we've been hard on the Seattle pick Gio or let's trade Gio train, but it's not because we hate the player Gio is or was. It's because he's older and his cap hit was high and he's become less effective, and that's not his fault. He's older. That's just how it is. And are we happy that they picked him? Absolutely. I think that I can put in both of your guys' mouths.
Yep.
It's 6.2, 275 off the cap. I mean, but that's just it. It's a business. He's getting up in age, and it's just time to get that cap relief.
I think Dylan can definitely speak for me on that one. Dylan probably
100%.
articulated.
Yeah, he's an amazing person. He's done amazing things off the ice for charity in this city. His story about not being drafted, coming here, and then pissing off to Europe to play for a year just to get his game, and then he comes back and he ends up being our captain. Like, his story is amazing.
Yep.
Right? He had a great career here. He's won the Norris. He's been in the All-Star. Like, I can't say anything bad about Gio, the player or the person. It's just it was just time. It was just time. Simply time. Right?
I agree.
Yeah.
I think Dylan and Chris have pretty much summed up how I feel. I mean, sometimes people would hear us ripping on certain players or certain parts of management and stuff and think automatically and assume, that we hate them. Unlike other podcasts that do have an agenda and just want to go in on one person and won't give them any credit, even if they do good. That's really not what we're about, guys. I think I can safely say that for all three of us. You know what I mean?
No, well, the three of us just very simply want our team to get better. We don't want to accept mediocre. We don't want to accept finishing off the season between the 7th spot and the 10th spot like we have been doing for umpteen years. We want the team to get better. So sometimes if you have to say those hard things that sorry, it's time to trade the captain, or whatever. Sorry, it's time to trade our number one center. It's just the business of hockey. We just want to get better. We want to win games.
I think that's a perfect segue actually into on behalf, for what it's worth, on behalf of the Flaming Puck podcast, we do wish Gio the best and 100%. hope that he has a good season, not against us, but I'd like to see him succeed there and get his money before he retires, and hopefully we'll see him back in the Flames, behind the scenes one day, and I'm pretty sure that's a given. So
I'm sure we'll see his his jersey in the Raptors as forever a Flame. That we have here, which rightfully so, right?
100%.
Yeah, he spent most of his career here. He was a captain for a large part of it, and like you said, he does great things in the community, and his wife does as well. And let's just let's remember all the great things that he did on and off the ice. He also ushered us through a giant period of mediocrity, and never really had a bad attitude or anything about it. Like, he was the captain of a pretty fucking mediocre team for a lot of those years, and he seemed to have a pretty good attitude. And so long, Gio. but it was time, and hopefully you come back because we do like you.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get on to.
I did want to continue on a little bit with the
Seattle
expansion draft, because I didn't catch what you guys were saying.
Sure.
When I came back, I heard that Chris was talking a little bit about Carey Price and how they didn't take some of those big fish, or even some of the smaller fish.
Well, what just Dylan, you can actually put some context in this. So what we were saying while you were off air was we were saying, you know, the way there was a lot, especially in this particular draft and with the free agency, we thought there was definitely pieces there that they could have traded, that they could have brought in, that could have been used as big trade pieces, and it didn't seem like that they went down that route. And that's
well, I would love to have seen them do that with Carey Price. And what I was trying to say right when I got cut off there is that I was kind of surprised that they weren't allowed to do that with Carey Price. At least trade them back to Montreal. There was a report, I don't know if it was true, but there was a report saying that they weren't going to allow him to go to Seattle and then get traded back to Montreal with salary retained, but they let Vanacek from Washington go in the expansion draft, and then they traded him back for a draft pick, no salary retained.
Yeah,
but that's still kind of like, why are you letting Washington do it, but you're not letting Montreal? It makes no sense to me.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
That whole scenario is super bizarre, right? If you're going to select a player and then trade him immediately back to that team, that's just, to me, that's just this collusion, and it's weird. I don't think it should be allowed at all.
I think what you start seeing here, because I mean, I listened to a lot of 31 Thoughts with the great Elliot Friedman, and as I'm sure
me too.
And I listen to a lot of the Flames podcasts, but I listen to a lot of hockey podcasts too, where we get a kind of an idea on what's going on around the league and around around all of the divisions. And I think what's happening here is that you're starting to see what teams need. I mean, Dylan, you put up a great piece on the Flames Hub, and I don't think you wrote it, but you'd put it up, and it was about getting players that you need to fit the team. And we'll obviously get on to what the Flames acquired later, but it seems that a lot of teams have done this. I actually went back and I looked at all of the free agency signings. You can see a little bit of a trend on what teams need. Now I'm looking at Seattle and I'm going, right, what is their identity going to be? I mean, they've got a ton of cap space right now, and I don't want to spend too long in Seattle either, because this is a Calgary Flames podcast, but you know, it is relevant and I think it needs to be talked about. But they I don't know what where they're going here. I mean, like, Jack Eichel is quite clearly available. Boom. Why, you know, surely the Buffalo Sabres would be looking
at. Is he really available? Keep hearing that there's 4 or 5 teams in the mix, but nothing's happening.
Well, there's bombshells.
Seattle's not one of the teams.
It's not one of the teams. That's what I'm saying. It's like, so what are they looking to do? Are they just happy to be a part?
But they've made it quite clear through their picks, in my opinion, through their expansion draft picks, including Carey Price, that they're not really interested in the big contract. Right. And that's exactly what Eichel is. Like, we could sit here and have a 3-hour long talk about, Chris and I could just be at each other's throats about Eichel for 3 hours if we wanted, but we don't really need to.
I would have to mediate that then, and unfortunately,
ding 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 ding.
Yeah,
round 3, go to your corners.
Yeah, but I still think that there's even some of the smaller contracts or whatever that they could have had that are great players, but they, like, for instance, especially since they didn't pick Carey Price and Minnesota left Kakinen available, who's just an absolutely, fantastic, like, you'd say prospect, but he pretty much split time with Talbot last year as a rookie and had almost very similar numbers, and won a lot of games. And for some reason they took Carson Soucy, who's
Mark Fleury was
young
available too. I mean,
kid,
obviously in the trade, I would have thought for some reason, I don't know why, but I had an idea that Fleury was going to end up in Seattle somehow, whether it be through trade. You know what I mean? And he ends up in the Blackhawks. And I was like, that would have been perfect goalie for them as a new franchise.
I mean, could you imagine him being the one guy that goes to both expansion teams?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, if I was Ron Francis managing that team, I wouldn't have anything to do with Fleury.
Oh no, me neither.
Because he's getting up in age, and his agent is a piece of shit.
Yeah,
but he still took Giordano, who's similar age, similar contract, similar time left on the deal, and Fleury actually has that championship pedigree to him, whereas Giordano doesn't. I know we're talking about apples to oranges with goalies and defensemen here, but still.
No, for sure. I get what you're saying.
It's still relevant.
It's true.
It's still relevant.
Yeah, it's totally relevant.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
still relevant.
I think they ended up doing pretty well in the goaltender side of things, to be honest.
Oh, they did, but I feel like they could have.
They did.
Or even if they had picked Kakinen, imagine the trade value on that goaltender. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. One thing,
like no disrespect to Carson Soucy, the value on Kaapo Kakinen is way fucking higher than Carson Soucy probably ever will be.
Yeah.
What about let's move on from the Seattle Kraken now, and we wish
they're the enemy now, so
fuck them. We wish them absolutely no luck. Welcome.
I just wanted to mention one more thing with them because I'm wearing a Team Canada jersey, Mangiapane, which just came in. I'm super
happy with T-shirt underneath.
No, but they took Dennis Cholowski from Detroit instead of Troy Stetcher, who was on Team Canada, and that was just, we don't have to spend much time on it, but that's a similarly aged player, but one of them has a way higher ceiling, and it just didn't make any sense to me anyways.
No, not at all. A lot that's why I wanted to bring it up early, so we can get out of the way and kind of address the elephant in the room and kind of go, they really didn't do what we expected. But anyway, let's move on to the Flames. I suppose a lot has kind of, a lot has happened since the draft. We were looking at the draft, and we were obviously kind of back and forth on, during draft over the 2 days, last Friday and Saturday.
I would imagine that Brad was finally able to at least have a nap, 2 days ago, perhaps, right? I mean, what a busy fucking time for GMs,
dude.
Oh,
and Brad Treliving on this podcast, I'm gonna say it outright because Dylan finally saw that. Dude, Brad is my guy now. Brad is
wow.
I
complete 180, huh?
Complete 180. I'll always give someone a chance.
So what made you change your tune there, Ian? This needs to be brought up in this.
Okay.
Yeah, this needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Because that's a complete 180.
You know what's cool about it? What's cool about it is because a lot of the guys in the Flames Hub were kind of saying it as well. They were like, "Whoa, what's happening with Ian?"
Yeah, we thought you were hacked.
Yeah, no, it was me. Dude, look, it's like we always say here. We might rip on somebody. It's never on a personal level. It's strictly on business or what we see on the ice. I think anybody that rips into people on a personal level are a piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're looking at it from A, the love of our team, and B, what we think is better for our team. And sometimes we don't know what's better than GMs. At the end of the day, they are paid.
Clearly, they know what they're doing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I looked at poor Brad's eyes, and I just thought, you know what?
Except for Ken Holland, what the fuck is he doing? Anyways, go ahead.
And also Eric Francis, he can go fuck himself.
Well, he's not a GM though, so
no, he's not a GM. But
Ken Holland's doing exactly what he should be doing.
But I just wanted to look at Eric
Francis
purely because I like the idea of go fuck Eric Francis. I'm just throwing that out there. And I'm pretty sure most Flames fans are with me on that one.
Oh yeah.
No, I think with Brad, I've watched pretty much every interview he's done, and I can see that he's absolutely trying his hardest. You know what I mean? And like Chris said there, you can see it in his eyes that the guy is tired. The guy is like really working overtime to try and get this right. And I think what really kind of stuck out for me was that he's actually working in tandem with his head coach this time to try and get
that's fair.
Will fit this system. So
that's very, very clear with the trades he's made in the last week and the free agency signings that he's working closely with Daryl.
Exactly.
They're trying to build a Daryl style team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's a question: has he ever had a coach? Because I don't think despite of what happened later with
I know where you're going with this, and this is why.
But has he ever had a coach that was
keep going, Dylan.
listening to in free agency or in I can't recall when Peters was hired.
Short answer, no. Right, because he came in the middle of what's his name, the French guy Hartley. So he came in the middle of Hartley. Then they signed Gullison. Then they got Peters, and which transitioned to Ward, which they're all reasonable coaches, I guess. But as far as I'm concerned, every single one of them is an assistant coach, not a head coach.
Yes.
He's finally got a true head coach that can actually properly mold players and get them to play a certain style.
Build the chemistry,
yeah. And obviously you also need to bring in players that are his style, right?
Yeah.
You can't win with somebody's style if you don't have players that'll play it, right?
Okay.
Which I've already gone on record saying that Johnny surprised the hell out of me being in my eyes being the one guy that actually truly changed his game and really improved last year when Daryl came on board. It was just, I honestly thought he'd be the first guy out of the team and on his way to anywhere just to get away from Daryl. So
this is kind of you're answering my question for me. Like all of the above that you guys have mentioned there is why I'm looking at Trey now and saying, you know what? Now he's got somebody that is a respected head coach, like a top head coach. Yeah. He's proving right now that he's willing to work with a head coach to get what he feels he needs. And I think the way he's speaking in interviews, he's a lot more, sometimes what used to bug me about.
Honest.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Dylan.
Not that he wasn't honest before, but I feel like he sounds more honest.
But he was covering up certain things. I think whereas this time he knows that there is a clear blueprint that he needs to follow.
Right. They have an actual direction, which is refreshing.
Yes.
One of the things that he's also fighting, and one of the reasons why I don't really give him. I rag on Brad all the time. That's fine. But one of the things that I kind of will ease up a little bit is the fact that there are a lot of players that will not come to Calgary. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't trade for them. You can't sign them.
Fuck those guys.
Oh yeah, fuck them indeed. But that's just one of those things that he has to fight through to try and make the team better. I couldn't imagine how hard it is when you have a list of 20 and then you find out that 9 of them won't come here. So now, shit. Now you're scrambling. Okay, no, here's my list, and so of course you're going to pay too much. You're going to.
Yeah. Well, then let's look at how he's made the team better instantly instead of spending too much time in the draft. Yeah. Go ahead, Dylan. Yeah.
So let's start with Coleman, and you were mentioning something I put online. I just brought it up on Facebook a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And it's actually a quote from an article. Justin Bourne, I believe, of Sportsnet. I could be wrong on that.
I think you're correct.
But he did like a little blurb on the best free agency signing from each team so far. And this is what he put about Coleman. He said, Blake Coleman, Calgary Flames, 6 years, $4.9 million, which we'll get to all of our reactions on that in a minute.
Sure.
But what Justin Bourne says is when you hire Daryl Sutter to coach your team, you're not putting him in a position to succeed if you don't get him some players who play the brand of hockey he wants to play. this is too much money, but Coleman's exactly what they're looking for. So in a way, it's like smart window close shopping. You're better off spending a little bit more on something you'll actually use than less for something you won't want to put out there.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir.
And I really liked what he wrote there, because that's kind of how I feel about it. Like I don't know how many people ever saw me write anything about Coleman before he went to Tampa, but I remember watching him when he was in New Jersey and fucking wanting us to get him, because he was that, like, he showed that much promise back then, and he's a joy to watch, and he plays a hard game, but
he throws his body on the line, right? You know what I mean? He puts his body on the line every day. Yeah.
He plays hockey the right way.
The goal words are all like try hard, like he's trying hard. He's not just like lounging around. He's like scoring goals from being tripped and scoring goals from being pushed around in front, and you know,
yeah, absolutely. He's like Mangiapane, right? He works his ass off. He gets dirty. He's not afraid to go in the corners. He knows what a hockey player is. I mean, he's not the most elite goal scorer. I get that. That's fine. But you don't win without players that have that grit and that, you know, that have that will and desire to win games.
Well, Chris, let's ask a question. Not every player that you're going to have on each line is going to be an elite goal scorer. That's why we have Johnny Hockey. That's why we have Sean Monahan. You know what I mean?
That's why they call it depth, right?
Yeah, you know, I mean, these guys are the guys that are meant to get the goals, but you need guys like your Lucic, like your fucking your Colemans there, that will go into the trenches for you to maintain the lead that your star players have put you. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
You know what I mean? They're the guys that are defending the lead that your star players have put you in.
That's 100%. Before I go any further with that, you promised me you wouldn't bring up Luch's name on this episode. That's okay.
I never promised you that I would not Milan Lucic. Milan Lucic. Yeah. When I heard he was, I just want to say a quick one. I heard that we were talking to the Pittsburgh Penguins about Lucic. I was like, bullshit, and it's turned out it is bullshit. So Milan will be here next season. So there's no way Daryl's getting rid of Milan.
Brian Burke can fuck right off.
Brian Burke, if you ever want to meet me on the streets of Calgary, let's do it. I don't live in Calgary, but if I'm ever
bring your tie. Bring your tie.
Yeah.
Comb your damn hair.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, so Coleman, I mean, he's a depth player. Like, I personally think he can go up and down the top three lines.
I think he can go between 2 and 3.
Between
2 and 3, I think. Yep, mainly.
Yeah, that'll be primarily where he is. But I bet he gets a bit of a. I'm sure he gets a bit of a sniff up on the top line for a game or two as well.
Dude, he's only 29. Yeah, he's only 29.
Exactly. And so, I mean, yes, I understand the contract is a bit long. I get that. But I mean, like, you have to pay more at free agency. Everybody pays more at free agency.
Brad's hands are tied on this.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel about it.
When we signed Neil to 5 years, everybody was all excited and blah blah blah. He ended up being a horrible player for us. When we signed Brouwer, everybody was excited. It just didn't work, right? Not saying Coleman's going to work and he's the answer, but you have to reach for the stars and make those picks, or else you're not improving the team.
Did anybody watch his interview? I thought his interview told all. He was talking, you know, and I think Elliot Friedman.
He seemed like he actually wanted to pick Calgary.
Yes, and it was like he has a young family. He's got a newborn kid. He wants to basically 6 years of actual fucking a home that he can actually bring his kid up. You know what I mean? Like, hockey fans don't get this. Hockey fans don't get this sometimes. These are human beings. You know what I mean? Elliot Friedman on 31 Thoughts said it. The amount of detail and work that goes into talking to other players that have been in a city and choosing that city. If it's going to be the next 6 years of your life, you want to make sure that it's the right one. So sometimes you got to overpay. And as Chris mentioned, if players don't want to come to Calgary, sometimes that extra fucking $350 is gonna get it over the
or
line.
that extra year or two on a contract will,
Sure,
that stability to do. I'm
all for it.
I'm hopeful that the last couple of years aren't going to be a bust, but if it is at that point, you buy them out, you move on.
You know what? If they are, originally I was a little I tend to overreact when things first happen. But what I originally thought of it was 6 years. I was a little but you're right, Chris. You absolutely have to pay in free agency, especially the first couple days.
Yeah.
Especially when it's one of the three, big names or whatever.
Exactly.
And you got to pay, and you got to pay a lot of the time in term, especially when they're in their very late 20s or early 30s. And we did, and we got a guy who can play second or third line. He hasn't had the chance to play first line because he's played in, a place with fucking Kucherov and Point and Stamkos and blah, 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 blah for a few years now. And who knows, maybe he has, a 30 goal first line in him. Who knows?
Yeah, 100%, Dylan. I mean, when it comes to free agency, and you go through your list of, say, the top 5 projected, free agents.
Am I here?
No, you're gone.
Unstable connection.
The GM at that point is actually selling the city. They're trying to, so whether it's, we have, X player that, you can play alongside of, or this city or this state doesn't have taxes.
Oh, it's just gone now?
Florida.
And shout out on that point, Chris, shout out to Derek Ryan, because Derek Ryan was one of the guys that Blake Coleman reached out to and saying, this is a great spot. Even if Derek Ryan went over to the dark side, it doesn't matter. You need those players that will, will vouch for the city. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 100%. So you tell them they can play with certain players. You look at the money thing. So if you don't have either one of those, then you're paying more money per year, and you're adding a year or two to a contract.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have to make the deal sweet, or else they're not coming.
Well, let's look at what about let's move on from Coleman, obviously, because we are stuck for time as well. So let's look at our defensive situation.
Yeah, Zadorov.
Yeah.
Zadorov.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
I think you and me, Chris, I think yourself and myself are the only two excited about this.
I'm just so excited about it. I'm a huge Robin Regehr fan.
Sure.
Not saying that Zadorov is him as far as his grit and his toughness and his hitting, but you can't tell me somebody that's 6'6", 235 pounds isn't going to make you pay in the fucking corners. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch him drop guys in the corner.
That's what he does.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, me too.
People are like, what do you mean?
What I am very
I don't give a shit.
about
pay that motherfucker $7 million a year to do that. I don't give a shit. Like, let's make Calgary a place that teams do not want to come to. I don't know if they haven't signed it yet, but his qualifying offer was 3.2. So, as long as it's within 3.2 and 4, it's not a big deal at all.
Yeah, we got a third round pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a great deal. I can't wait. So we can kill people with Luch. We can kill people with Zadorov.
Dylan, your internet connection is going absolutely crazy here. Just so we know, just for our listeners here, we just want to say Dylan's having problems with internet. So if you hear people talking over each other, poor Chris is trying his best.
I'm trying to cut him off, right? Knock it off, Dylan. Yeah.
Dylan lives up in the actual mountains with the Bigfoots. So
Well, and yeah, he doesn't even have electricity, right?
Yeah.
So his generator's probably out of gas.
It's all gas generated. Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
one of those
Yeah.
yellow bottles of gas.
Yeah, he's working on 1 bar of LTE, right?
Yeah, man.
Jeez.
He's got his wife basically running on the the old treadmill, getting going for an hour a week.
It's a good workout. I'm going on the podcast. Get on the bike. Whoop, whoop.
Get on the bike.
Faster.
Yeah, good Lord. No, I am absolutely 100% all in on this guy. I think it's great. I mean,
So am I.
Have you heard about the rumors that Elliot Friedman said that there is a possibility that Chara could be an option as well at a low deal?
Oh God.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. I need some time to process that.
Yeah, no, he didn't say it's gonna happen. He just said it's a couple of pieces that they're looking at. So
we just had breaking news here, Dylan. Brad just signed Chara to a 3-year deal worth $4.5 million each.
Is this an actual thing?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were frozen there again. No, it's total bullshit. I just wanted to get your reaction there, and it looked like your internet.
There's the reaction.
Didn't say a word, didn't move. It was amazing.
That is the reaction right there. Gretzky's come out of retirement to play first line center because he said he feels bad for Sean. So
right?
He's gonna help him out.
So the other sign, the other I guess trade we made there, right, was Pitlick, the Seattle Kraken great. He was there for almost 24 hours.
He's the Flyers kid, right? Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to play on the 3rd and 4th line, so I don't know shit. Start the parade. We got Pitlick.
Brett Ritchie as well. I mean, that's one thing. Elliot Friedman said that he was thinking the Flames were seriously looking at getting the Ritchie brothers to play together. Yeah. But it looks like
I wouldn't mind it. I mean, but I like Brett Ritchie. I like how he plays his game.
Me too, dude. I mean, he's a tough son of a bitch. I mean, what he done with Cara at that time?
Exactly 100%. He's just not the top line guy.
No.
And Daryl knows that. Daryl's not going to make him play with Johnny and Sean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a deer caught in the headlights. He's not a top line player.
I mean, like sometimes when you play with elite talent, you're kind of out of your depth, and of course your nerves are going to be playing on you a little bit. You're not meant to be there, but I think when I look at it, I mean, I think Blake Coleman can kind of bridge that gap a little bit, to take the pressure off Brett Ritchie.
I think so.
Simon has gone back obviously to Pittsburgh, which is obviously fine because that will help.
Yeah, I mean, I as long as he's not here, I don't care where he goes.
Yeah, I don't really care either. I don't care how you pronounce his name either. Simon, Simon, fucking Simmons. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
doesn't bother me none.
I legit care none for Simon, Simone, say whatever the fuck.
Literally 4-5 games and then down to the Stockton Heat. Holy shit, man.
Have fun in the taxi squad.
Chris, what do you reckon with them? I was kind of looking at this as well. I was thinking the more I'm looking at it, one more year, because I mean, obviously they don't seem to be trying to offload Sean. I mean, I think obviously if there's any deal with Sean, it's going to be looking at getting an elite center like Jack Eichel. Don't want to mention the name, but unfortunately we have to address the elephant in the room. Do you think there's any chance that there could be a rejuvenation, especially with the surgery and stuff like this? I'm kind of being hopeful here, and kind of now that I'm giving Brad second chances, I'm willing to kind of look at Sean Monahan with this too. Do you think that there's any kind of chance that we look at a rejuvenation under Sutter with Monahan on a second line maybe?
There's always a chance, right? I mean, but if you look at Sean now, every single year at the end of the year, he needs a surgery.
We're making excuses, aren't we?
Yeah, whether it's his wrist, whether it's his hip, whether it's whatever, he's always got something going on. Obviously, you love his heart. He wants to play. He doesn't want to, come out of the line. I get that, but does it help the team? No. I don't know that he he's definitely not Daryl Sutter hockey, at all.
No.
Like
he's not gritty enough. He's not gritty enough. He doesn't want to get into the trench.
Exactly. I mean, he's tried to be a 200-foot player the last 2 seasons, and and that's great. He's at least putting in some effort, but he's still too timid.
What do you think about him on the third line? I know it's pretty big money, but
I just logged back on here.
Ian was asking if I thought that Monahan would have a bounce back year under Sutter, because you don't seem to be finding any trade partners. And I'm sure what's happening is Brad is just finding out that Sean is not coveted by teams in this league. Like he's a second to third line center at best.
Yeah, that's where I get.
And he's probably not getting the
I'm gonna make a suggestion. I'm gonna make a suggestion to you two guys while we have Dylan as well, while we can hear Dylan.
Yeah.
What about trying this? Okay, because obviously if we're stuck with him, and I mean, it's not like we're stuck with an absolute dud. We're just not expecting to be our first line,
Right.
What if we were looking at a center line going all the way down? For me personally, I would like this. I would like Lindholm number 1, Backlund number 2, Monahan number 3, and then I'm thinking Rosicka number 4. I would like to see how that would look in preseason.
Yeah, I don't mind that. At least to have a look at it, right?
Just a look. That's all. Yeah.
We need to start bringing in our Stockton Heat players and giving them a chance to prove themselves.
Godin, or
no, I don't.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I think both of those guys should have a chance to make the main squad this year.
I agree,
especially because it'll give us more cap space as well. Because I mean, they're both, I'm assuming, sitting at around $850.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah.
Like that. And that's what you need.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should give him a chance to prove it, and it just gives us more money to make the third line and second line better.
The thing is with that, like you guys were just talking about Monahan and how he's not really the best two-way, like whether he's trying harder, which he has been, and he has been getting better, don't get me wrong, but he's not the best two-way forward, and he's 6'3" and plays like he's 5'8", and that's a problem on the third line. The line needs to be physical.
That's a problem on any
and
line.
Defensively.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the pedigree to be on the top line, in my opinion, and he's not tough enough to be on the third.
That's where my kind of frustration comes from. You know what I mean? Because it's like we obviously love money for what he's done in the past and stuff like that. And I've gotten over the fact Dylan likes to tease me sometimes and go, "Wow, well, you love money," and it's like, yeah, I do, because it's a loyalty thing. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's only a loyalty thing.
Monahan used to be my favorite player on the team. Like I don't know, 5 years ago or something.
Exactly.
Player on the team.
But I mean, he's 28. That's why I'm thinking a bounce back season here. Look, it's more hopeful than
Well, yeah, obviously, I hope all players have a bounce back season, especially after the last 2 that we've had. Another thing, like when it comes to Sean, I mean, in my opinion, the second line center or second line is the one you throw out against the other team's top players. You want to make sure they can grind and dig and make life miserable for
but he did that.
Top players.
I thought he did pretty well at times.
He did not.
With Dubé and Mangiapane, maybe for 2 games.
They were playing on the third line. They were playing on the third line, and they weren't playing against the other team's tops. That was when they made the switch and got Backlund back in that role that he's always played well.
Yeah.
Sean cannot play against the other team's top. I'm sorry, he doesn't. He can't take the puck. He can't be physical.
Oh, that's fair.
So think about the best second line we've had in the last I can't even remember, probably 10 years. Backlund, Tkachuk, Frolik. What are those 3 good at?
Yeah, and you could, as it sits right now, you can switch Frolik with Mangiapane, right?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that 100%. I mean, look, it's the same.
That's what we got Coleman for too. I think Coleman fits, and he can take face-offs, and he can be that second line, 20 goal maybe-ish guy who can produce. And the thing about him too is when he when he scores, it's when the game's on the line.
Yeah.
He's a very clutch type of player. He might not get 30 goals, but he can score.
He's a big game player. Yeah.
That's right.
While still
exactly.
defense.
Yeah, I mean, like it's okay to have guys like, you know, I mean, you look at guys like obviously the two best in the last decade, you know, Ovechkin, Crosby. They were high scorers, but B, they were clutch players. You don't get that all the time, and that's not what we're expecting. But what we do expect from someone like a Sean Monahan is to not score a goal when you're already 3 up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want those goals when we need them.
Well, that's right. That's the one thing that my frustration with Monahan has always been. I mean, yeah, he's had the flashy goals when he's being fed the puck by Johnny. I get that, but it's the other 180 feet of ice when you watch him. He's just useless.
Yes.
He
mean,
can't create. He can't
what
do any of that.
What bothers me about him now, he used to be a one-dimensional player. He used to be like people rag on Patrick Laine all the time for being a one-dimensional player because all he does is shoot and score when he's scoring. But Monahan used to be kind of like that. I mean, a different type of scorer, but he used to be a one-dimensional scorer. And now he's not even a one-dimensional scorer. So
exactly,
what dimension has he got?
Exactly.
That's right.
Like he used to be able to tip, man. He used to be one of the better players in the fucking league at tipping the puck in front of the net,
dude,
and redirecting in front of the net and shit like that, for making space for himself in front of the net. But now he can't.
That's the thing. He's not able to get away from the other players anymore. Like he's not taking that step back so as that he can get his stick in the lane or be in a position for a rebound.
I think injuries have really caught up with him. It's like he's afraid.
I think so too.
He's afraid to
get he's timid, right?
He's afraid.
Like before he was timid because he didn't want to hit. Now he's timid because he doesn't want to get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's not a good sign for any hockey player. I mean,
No.
you're thinking. I mean, 2 years ago, you're saying absolutely. If this Eichel trade comes up, you're thinking, right, we could trade money with something. You know what I mean? Now it's like, good Lord, people don't even want to take him from us. Let's
no, exactly. Yeah, in order to make that trade right now, you have 4 or 5 other pieces just to make it happen.
Yeah,
which is too much for me. Because speaking about guys that can take faceoffs, Eichel's not one of them.
Oh yeah,
career average of 44.1 for God's sake.
That's for sure.
Elite center.
I am not in this all Eichel in thing, to be honest with you. Not when it involves someone like Chucky or anybody like that. You know what I mean?
100%.
No way.
So,
no way.
Can we? I'd like to ask you guys your opinion on something. I know I'm kind of switching topics here, but the trade for Dan Vladar. What do you guys think about that? Because I like the kid. I've watched a couple of his games. I've really liked him. But what do you guys think about that?
It's an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't really know a lot about him. Like you said, you've watched him. I really haven't.
Well, he's only played 5 NHL games.
Yeah, that's true.
I've only watched it.
That's true. But I mean, like his A numbers were great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they were really, really good. So, I think it's a good move because what did it cost us? A third?
The 3rd round pick that we got
Toronto?
For Neil, I think.
No, well, what it was,
Riddick,
we traded Neil's pick.
Oh yeah.
And got 2/3 with it, right? I'm pretty sure that's what we did with that. We traded his third in the last year's draft to get 2/3, right, for this year, and we used those this year, I think.
Or wait, no, it was the 3rd for Bennett, and then the one that we traded for
Riddick.
For Riddick, we got we traded
Toronto, round 3.
That's right. Yeah, that's right for Zadorov.
Yeah,
for Zadorov was the Rick pick.
It's so as far as picking him up, I mean it's a smart move. Obviously, we need the goalie depth, because we all are in agreement that Wolf is still at least 2 years away from
100%.
making the NHL if he makes the NHL. I'm always tempered when it comes to goaltenders, especially with our system, because for as far as the goaltenders seem to come here and die, so I never want to rush them into things.
And like, so what do they do?
It's a smart move.
Rid of Siglet and just making him a different style of goalie coach.
Well, I mean, but I don't even think he's not even coaching anymore. He's just part of the management team now, right?
Well, he's part of the goalie development team, but he's not the goalie coach. So they goalie coach.
So I'm sure he's got a lot of say in it, obviously, but yeah.
Well, look, let's finish the show off by talking maybe 5-10 minutes about Johnny, because obviously that deal hasn't been signed yet, and I think people are kind of over worrying about it. You know what I mean? I think it's. Look, I heard Elliot Friedman talk about it last night as well on a podcast. I don't think it was his own, but it was something else. And he said, "Look, this isn't really an issue for Johnny or the Flames about the 5-team trade clause. It's like,
I don't think so either.
It's like, look, they feel comfortable that they will get a deal done, and you know what I mean. And I think that is our key component right now. I think keeping Johnny, because it doesn't look like we're going to make that astronomical trade. I mean, I think Brad can make some trades for sure. Look, if we get Eichel somehow, fair enough. But I think without a shadow of a doubt, Eichel, and I've heard you guys say it as well, Eichel without Johnny makes absolutely zero sense.
Absolutely.
Zero sense.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
So,
and not to mention, Eichel, is he going to play this year? He hasn't even had the surgery yet, for God's sake.
Yeah.
No, he hasn't.
There was a news that came out
about that today, saying that
the agents,
apparently, if he did have the surgery in the next couple weeks here, he'd still be able to make training camp. But I don't know how true that is. Like, we don't.
I don't know how true that is.
I think that's a bunch of bullshit. Personally, I mean,
I would never throw that out when you're talking about anything to do with the spine.
I would recommend anybody that is interested in hearing this, whether he ends up at the Ducks, whether he ends up at Minnesota, whether he ends up at the Wild, whether he ends up at Calgary, regardless, I would recommend, Elliot Friedman was saying on the latest 31 Thoughts, they have Eichel's doctor and talking about the actual intricacies.
I haven't listened to that one yet.
I haven't either. So I would recommend anybody that wants to hear about the actual intricacies of that surgery that's going to have. Cool. Yeah, so
I'd be very interested. I'm definitely going to give that. I mean, I listened to every 31 Thoughts.
Me too.
In the recent past. So,
well, if you're a hockey fan, you got it, right?
Yeah, I need to step away for a moment. I'll be right back. I apologize.
Well, do you know what? Funny enough, okay. It's okay, Chris, because we're going to end the show soon anyway.
Not because of my internet either.
It's cool. But no, we are going to end it soon. I think Dylan, you probably agree with that. Realistically, I think Johnny really is the key component in this team right now. And I think if he's going to commit for another 4 to 5 years, depending on what amount he wants to commit to us for.
I mean, it depends on what amount and all that type of stuff. But the other thing is like you were saying, we don't know where, like, or sorry, you were saying like the 5-team trade, no trade clause isn't a big deal, and like I don't think it really is either, because let's say we're not in contention. Let's say we're pretty far out of the playoff race. Come the trade deadline,
February.
Johnny's got 1 year left on his deal, right?
Yeah.
So he's only playing a couple more months. So what's the chance he doesn't, waive his clause for any team that's even making the playoffs? You know what I mean? But if we are in the playoffs, then we want to keep him, right? Like
100%. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's the key to us winning a whole bunch of playoff games, but I think that he'll help us get there, and he'll help us. He's a great playmaker, but he needs a great scorer. That's all there is to it.
I think personally, I do honestly believe that a good year and a good preseason, more so, a good year of him playing with Lindholm as the center, I think that could work. It was, we saw little spells of it last year. We saw it in drips and drabs. And I think I think Lindholm could be, I'm not saying he's going to be an elite scorer or he's going to be a 99-point player. I'm not saying that, but he's definitely a big player. You know what I mean? And he is a player with a 200-foot game.
He's accountable all the time.
He really is, dude. And that was one of the things I was going to call this podcast. Thank God for Lindholm.
Sure.
Because I think he could be the guy that steps up this year and has bigger numbers than he's had before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially with Darryl behind him.
Yeah. I think obviously the three of them between Chucky, Lindholm and Johnny, they finished the year off pretty strong together.
Yes,
and I think they should keep that together.
Me too.
If we don't make any trades or moves, that has to be our top line. You can't put Chucky down to the second because then you're forced to put a Richie on the top, and we don't.
Well, Chucky is basically captain material at this moment in time, because that's something we haven't talked about. I think on the next episode, when we get closer to knowing what's going on, we'll talk more about captaincy. We won't really talk about it on this show, but I 100% agree. I mean, I think Chucky on the right, it makes 100% sense.
Yeah, I agree.
And any closing thoughts today, guys?
Yeah, I wanted to touch on the draft just a little bit because we really haven't. You guys like the Matthew Coronado pick?
Yeah, I'm liking it more and more.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's got a good attitude.
Yeah, I'm liking it more and more.
I mean, as far as us becoming a bigger team I mean, he has some pretty good numbers in the USHL. 51 games, 85 points last year, 45 games, 40 points the year before. I mean, it is what it is.
Good.
He may make the NHL in 3 years. He'll be too small for the game. He doesn't play hard, doesn't play gritty. I watched a few of his videos, and he just has skill. That's great. So we'll see. I'm not super excited about him yet.
No, but I'm not super excited about him yet. But I'm more willing to fucking see it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not as butthurt about it as I was when it happened live. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I was pretty angry when it happened live. Not gonna lie. I think I expressed that in the Flames Hub.
I think I most definitely did. I was getting fights and everything. It's grand.
I think something about I think my exact words were 5'10", fuck you, Brad. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind, Chris. You and me are only around that height anyway. So it's like...
Well, that's exactly my height now. So I mean, and I'm not in the NHL. That's what I'm saying. Especially being so we passed on that center that went two after us, right?
Yeah, that's true.
God damn it.
Well, but look, it's Connor Zary last year though. He's the guy that we need to be looking at. And I think Dylan asked a good question there, because it's like these picks are so fucking like, it's so conditional. You know what I mean? You don't know, because you're trying to go so far into the future to
exactly. Once you get to pick number 10, it's a coin flip, right?
Yeah,
are they going to develop right? Are they going to make the league? You can get somebody out of the fourth round that becomes an elite player, and then somebody that was in the first round.
Connor, why not, or win it, or whatever way you fucking pronounce it over there. I mean, like, I was checking him out, like, and he was kind of predicted higher than he actually ended up as well. So I think in the later rounds, I honestly do think that Brad has kind of made our prospects pool a little bit better than it was before. So I think he's got to be given credit for that. And obviously he looked at right wing and said, look, we don't have a lot at right wing, which is I would 100% agree with. And he thought, right, this is the guy that we need. We need a high scoring player, and in 3 years' time, as you said, Chris, who knows who's going to be playing here in 3 years' time?
Well, that's right. And I mean, we need defense, right?
Yep.
So why not?
Exactly. You know what I mean? I think that's
so
a great way to fucking end it. That should have been the right way to end the show.
You should just like end the recording and like right after he says why not, just fucking edit it right there.
That's what we're gonna do.
Cut it.
Yeah. But no, it's been a great conversation with you boys again. It's one of the highlights.
Yeah, sorry, I'm cutting in and out.
That's all good. Listen, you know, Dylan is up in the mountains. He's got the missus outside there running the wheel, running the bike, trying to keep the.
Yeah, that's what we figure, that she's keeping the generator going on the bike outside. But she needed a drink of water, so your internet shit the bed. So
and Dylan,
gotta really stay on her.
If only it was like a smoke generated thing, we'd be fine. I'd have the best internet in the world.
Right. Yeah, you probably can't even see the mountain.
Unfortunately, there's too much smoke.
That's it.
Nope, I haven't seen a mountain in 2 months.
If anybody's confused why Dylan keeps looking left to right, he's not doing his best Britney Spears impression. What he's actually doing is he's looking out for Sasquatch because he's going around kicking his missus off the fucking generator.
Right. Hey, while we're still on the topic of the draft, I'm actually more excited to kind of see Cole Huckins' development over Matt Coronado, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
He's
me too.
Bigger player, shoots left center, playing in the queue. Not huge numbers, but I think like he plays a hard game.
Yeah.
He's
I also can't wait for the Hitman season next year as well. So because the WHL app, and I'm going to be able to see all the games too. So
nice.
I think one thing that commonly, I don't know what you think about this, Chris, but I think one thing that commonly kind of gets misconstrued is you need, like, don't get me wrong, you need a whole bunch of, tough players to play against, but you also need some finesse. You also need some skill. You can't.
Yes.
Yeah. You're not going to win if all of your players are Trevor Lewis. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. He'll be a great fourth liner, a great guy in the press box every once in a while, a great leader, but he's, we need a Johnny Gaudreau on the team. Maybe not him specifically, but we need somebody like that on the team who's going to run the offense, going to help run the offense. And, some teams are lucky to have Mikko Rantanen who can do both, but not many teams have a guy who can do, who is that creative offensively and who can also play that hard-nosed game in the corners.
Yeah,
that's the key, right? Is trying to find somebody with that skill that can play a bit harder than Johnny. Obviously, I know that we're not making playoffs without Johnny on the team.
No,
I get that, and plus, I mean, look at how many asses and seats he gets for us at the Dome.
Well,
right?
He is our star player.
You're not selling out the Dome with a whole team of third liners, right?
But guess what?
They tried that in the 90s. They tried that in the 90s. It didn't work.
I agree with something that Chris said about 3 months ago on this show, maybe 2. Matthew Tkachuk is going to have a big fucking bounce back year. I'm telling you here now. I feel it in my fucking bones, man. Like, there's no doubt about it. That guy is living for it. So,
I think his dad probably pulled him aside this summer and had a little
damn straight
chat.
Damn straight. What's your baby brother making you look bad? Fuck this shit. Come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No way, I think. But look, that's a perfect way to end it because Chucky wasn't even mentioned on the show, really. And I'm telling you, next year is the year of the Tkachuk. And not the brothers, just the one.
He's going to run his brother over.
Yeah, he is. He is. Yeah, his brother tried to
fight
him the last time.
There'll be a new T-shirt that says "Stay off the track."
Yeah, you can just imagine Keith going up to Matthew and says, "Hey, like, don't worry about what your mom says. You go out there and you run your brother right the fuck over and make him fight you."
You can't tell me as if they haven't had that conversation already. Keith knows.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He knows.
Oh, Brady tried to be an asshole the last time as well. So
Brady's always an asshole.
you know what? I can't wait till Brady runs into. Can't wait till Brady runs into number 17 next year. That's all I'll say.
Well, he ran from him last year.
I know he did.
3 times.
Like a motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
No, I would too.
Him.
I would too.
Yeah.
Everyone runs from number 17. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. I mean, so much like even Reeves got the hell out of the division, right? He's like, I'm out of here. I'm not doing it.
Fuck this guy.
I'm in New York.
You seen the you seen the little clip on the Flames side as well, where they showed Zadorov and fucking Kachuk, and he was like, with Lucic, and he was like, I don't want it.
Yeah. Luch gave it to him anyways. Luch still gave it to him.
Luch was like, well, you're getting it, motherfucker. You're getting it. Fuck.
Yeah. But yeah, Reeves just said, oh shit, the Canadians are coming back. Yeah, I want out. And so they traded him. He demanded a trade out of there.
Oh, damn straight, dude. Listen. What a way to finish the show with Milan Lucic once again at the top. I can't wait to come on for the first game of the season with 1-7 on, and it's going to be great. But you know,
I guess we're just going to segue right into the next show by saying go Milan Lucic, and then first thing next show you're just going to be like go Milan Lucic, and then that's going to be our show.
It's going to be our thing. It's going to be our thing.
I can't believe you haven't put 7
on the road and Luch is going to be retired, and you're still going to be fucking cheering him on every day.
Oh, dude, I'll be like, I hope you're doing well in life, Luch.
I can't believe you haven't put 17 on the graphic on the YouTube page.
Oh, dude, that's going to happen. That's going to happen at some point. Don't worry about it. Maybe now is the time.
I think it is.
Maybe now is the time. But no, 100% guys. I think it's perfect. I do think we are on the rail. I'm just going to close off the show by saying that I think we're all in agreement here that I think we have made the team better in subtle ways, and I think in ways that you will only appreciate once we get on the ice. You know what I mean? I think that's when fans will appreciate what we're doing. And look, as Elia Friedman and people that are, much more in the know than us, keep saying this isn't over yet. And I think Brad is 100% earning his fucking money at the moment and trying his best to do what he can. And I think regardless of whether he ends up with the big trade that we want or whether he doesn't, the dude cannot be faulted for not trying this year. I think
no. He's put in the effort, right? He's put in the hours.
I don't think he ever hasn't put in the effort. I think he's tried every single.
But I think now though, for people like me who had been fucking ripping on him, I think now that he has that head coach that he has to work with, it's like, right, it's either this guy or nothing. You know what I mean?
Well, and I'm sure the owners are giving him that extra leash because of Daryl, right?
Yeah.
They know that Daryl wants a certain thing, right? Daryl's beloved in this city, and rightfully so.
But Daryl wants Eichel. I think that's where the Eichel thing is coming from. Daryl wants Eichel. He's like, yeah, get me him. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe
is weird because Eichel is not a Daryl player at all.
No, I didn't think so either. But I mean, I mean, I'm sure that the reason that the Calgary name keeps coming up in that fucking 4, it just keeps coming up and up and up and up and up.
I mean, that's just the way the media works, right? I mean, if you look at every single trade and every single UFA signing, it's got Edmonton and Toronto in.
Yeah. Fuck Edmonton, every time. By the way, did I say that on this show?
No. What was that?
Can we get it in tandem on 3, 2, 1? Can we get a fuck Edmonton? Yeah. So in 3, 2, 1.
Fuck Edmonton.
Fuck Edmonton.
Yes.
Fuck the Oilers.
We wish you all the success in the world. We don't want you to hurt each other, by the way.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hope you fall off a cliff, but
okay, this is the best.
I love the Oilers, right?
This is the best. This is the best.
Mick Collarbone, right? I mean, he's the greatest player that's ever played the game, right?
He reminds me of Conor McGregor, actually. No,
if only he was good enough to get him past the first round.
Sorry,
no, I know. I'm going to take some heat. I know we didn't make the playoffs. I get it, but
the best
still won the same amount of playoff games.
The best Mac that plays in the NHL plays for Colorado. I'm sorry.
100%. God, see, now you're just making Greg happy. Let's knock it off.
I don't know, man. What about Connor Mackey?
Okay, give him his due. Give him a chance. Give him a chance next year. I'm with you. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. Or what about the Mac that hasn't been discovered yet?
Yeah.
That is about to play for Calgary.
This conversation just makes me hungry.
Yeah, listen, it's about time that we put this one to bed. It's been awesome, guys. Been an awesome show. Obviously, it's been great to have a conversation where we can actually talk about stuff that we can see instead of our predictions. Yeah, guys. I mean, fuck it. Brad Treliving is doing a fucking A+ job at the moment. Like I said, you know, I hope he gets some sleep. To be fair.
Yeah, I'm sure he has, and now he's getting ready to pull the trigger on that Monahan trade.
Absolutely. So. Well, it's the only thing that we can do. So
that's right.
You know,
that's right.
But until next week, for me, Ian Dynamo Kelly, for the Ginger Ninja himself, Mr. Dylan Simpson, and of course, Chris likes to fucking stew the shit out of his beef. Ruback.
Interesting.
We are over and out.